How we doing, folks? Happy Friday. Coach Glenn here. Topic of today is what if things are not going as expected? And obviously, I'm talking about your health journey. We're now at February 10th. So we're essentially about 6 weeks into the new year. And maybe some of you started off really strong and you had all these things you wanted to accomplish. And maybe already you're thinking, wow, okay, maybe I need a reset. So today I'm just going to give you a little refresher on what you can do to restart the journey, restart the process, pick yourself back up, get started again. And there's a few things that you can do, folks, that they're not easy. Everyone stumbles, everyone falls down, and it is what it is. And it's because building healthy habits can be extremely hard. And the number one reason people quit is they have unrealistic expectations. And if you have unrealistic expectations and you don't have the proper steps in place, even if you make one minor mistake or error, it's going to throw you off course. So it's also normal as well to plateau once you've achieved something new. So maybe the first few weeks in January, maybe you lost 10 pounds right away and you're super happy, and then you haven't lost a pound since. Well, part of that could be, for the most part, if you were extremely diligent with watching what you were eating and you went low carb, which I would highly recommend. Most of that weight that you've lost is water, because carbohydrates take a lot of water. And when you cut your carbs, so goes the water. And so that's typically what people lose initially when they go low carb, is they lose a fair bit of water, and then the weight loss levels off. So that could be the reason. So don't get discouraged. And sometimes, folks, life gets in the way. And we're all busy parents here. We're all busy people. And sometimes shit just happens. But what I would recommend is that get back on your wagon, get back. Successful people are tenacious. And even when it gets really tough and life gets rough, they figure out a way to keep going. And so what I would recommend for you folks is just reevaluate where you're at right now. And maybe you're not happy with the spot you're at, because maybe you felt you weren't as consistent, so you threw in the towel too soon. Well, like I said earlier, maybe your expectations were just too high. Maybe working out 5 days a week from zero was too big of a jump. Maybe totally going low carb right out of the gate was too big of a change. So you got to start with baby steps. And I'm going to give you a couple strategies today that might help with that process. And the first one is to get back on track. And I'm going to give you a couple nutrition tips here, folks. The best way to get back on track is to make sure that your 12-hour eating window is maxed. So you don't want to eat more than 12 hours a day. If your goal is, I want to be healthier, I want to lose weight, especially fat weight, because for the most part, folks, we all know that, fat weight is not healthy, additional fat weight. So when you eat for more than 12 hours, your digestive system gets out of whack. And it's something that you really want to be careful of, because every organ and system in your body is on a circadian rhythm, meaning it's a sleep-wake cycle. And your digestive system runs optimal for about 12 hours a day. But when you continually give it food or calories to break down outside that 12-hour window, it gets burnt out. It gets to the point where it's not functioning as efficiently. And when you don't have your digestion, folks, you don't have anything, because we all eat, and we all eat every day. And if your digestive system, which is the main system in the body that helps digest, absorb, assimilate, break down food, isn't working, guess what? You're going to feel hungry all the time. When you do eat, things are going to get backed up, and you're not going to get the energy and nutrients you need. You're going to feel hungry all the time. So you've got to make sure that you're only eating 12 hours a day maximum. Maybe for those of you that are familiar with intermittent fasting, maybe you went from a a 14-hour eating window all the way down to an 8, and that was too drastic. So folks, I would just start simple. Start with 12 hours a day, and then every week lower it. So maybe starting Monday the 13th, you lower it to, or you start again with 12 hours eating window. Then maybe the week of Feb 20th, it's 11. The week of Feb 27th, it's 10. The week of March 6th, it's 9. I mean, slowly work your way down. There's no need to go right in and go, like, say, for instance, if you were eating for 14 hours a day, maybe you were eating from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Well, to go from that for years or decades to only eating 8 hours a day is a big drastic change. So maybe your change was just too drastic and too abrupt. So start slow and steady. And remember, consistency wins the race. It isn't, oh, I'm only going to eat 8 hours a day. Look at me, I'm a hero. No. That doesn't matter. If you can't stick with that, then you haven't crossed the finish line, because remember, this is a lifelong process. It isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. So first tip I'll give you is make sure that your eating window is maximum 12 hours a day, and then slowly over time you drop it to what works for you. You don't have to do the traditional 8 hours eating, 16 hours not eating like the traditional intermittent fasting calls for. Personally, my eating window is 9, sometimes 10 hours a day. Now, there's days where maybe I'm busier and I don't eat as early, so maybe it's 7 or 8 hours, but for the most part, mine is probably a 9-hour eating window. It's usually 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. So again, don't get discouraged. Everyone's different. I found that for me also too, I just couldn't get enough calories in 8 hours a day, especially on days where I'm really, really active, where I'm, going for long walks, where I'm throwing the weights around. I just found in those days I needed the extra hour to get in more calories, so I wasn't always hungry. So that's tip number 1 that I hope that helps you and serves you. Tip number 2, folks, to help you get back on track is you don't have to kill yourself with exercise. A lot of people think right out of the gate, as soon as they start a fitness goal or they have a resolution in the new year, they feel they have to get a gym membership or they have to start working out like an absolute beast. You don't need to do that, folks. Yes, you should move every day. You should get up and walk every day, and you should move as much as you can every hour, especially if you're sitting for a living in a chair like most people. But in terms of intense activity, you only, to see great results, and I'm talking to middle-aged folks here. This is not for, athletes trying to get drafted or, youth athletes trying to get scholarships. I'm talking about middle-aged busy parents. If you can manage 2 strength training sessions a week where your intensity is at least 80% and you need maybe 20 or 30 minutes per session, that's all you need. And you're going to see great results with that. Now, maybe if you can fit in a third along the way, maybe 3 to 6 months from now or so, that's great. But to start with, folks, all you need is twice a week, and you need 20 to 30 minutes. And when I say intensity above 80%, what that means is if you fell on the floor right now and you could only do 10 push-ups, then for your workout, you would do 8, because 8 out of 10 is 80%. So as long as your intensity when you're doing things is above 80%, as a middle-aged busy parent, you're going to see results. You don't have to kill yourself and go to failure every single time. But if you're well below 80%, you're not going to see the results you're looking for. And and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because if you are a frequent gym goer and you have been going to the gym for years, and you might see people there every now and again that you recognize, and I'm going to bet that most of them, probably 80 to 90% of these people, they haven't changed their body shape or their body composition in years, and they look the same as they did 3, 4, 5 years ago, and they're probably going to look the same in 3 or 4 or 5 years, because they don't know what variables to change their body composition, to make sure that the time and effort they're putting in is going to pay off. And so you don't want that to be you. And so not only do you want to have an 80% minimum intensity when you're working out, And it doesn't matter the exercise. It could be chin-ups, it could be push-ups, it could be squats, it could be lunges, it could be a hamstring exercise. Whatever it is that you're doing to get stronger, you want to make sure that at the end of each set, the perceived effort is a minimum of 80%. And it might take you a few workouts to get to that, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter, how long it takes, as long as you eventually figure it out that you can maintain a minimum of 80%. And eventually you're going to get stronger. And eventually you're going to have to add more load or do more repetitions or add more sets, change the tempo of your repetitions. Eventually you're going to have to change the variables, or you're going to hit a plateau when you're doing strength training as well. And if you're not familiar with how to change those variables, I'm sure that you can ask a professional or a professional in your local area, if you are going to the gym, to help you with those variables. Third thing I want to talk about, folks, and this is important. I gave you the first tip I gave you was nutrition based, where we talked about making sure that your eating window was max 12 hours. Second one was making sure that you are doing twice a week strength training. And third one I'm going to give you is focus on your sleep. Because for the most part, most people think that in order for me to lose weight, I just have to focus on nutrition and exercise. And I'm going to be dead honest here, folks, because I know what the research says, and I know how I felt when I changed my sleep habits. But if your goal this year is you want to lose 20, 30, 40 pounds, then you need to put your sleep as a priority. And you need to be getting 7.5 to 8 hours every single night, where it's good quality sleep. You're getting all 4 stages of your sleep. And that's going to allow your body to burn the fat when you're sleeping. And not only is that going to probably self-correct some hormonal issues when you improve your sleep, it also helps you not crave sugar. It gives you the energy that you need to exercise and move. It helps alleviate stress. So there's many, many factors why sleep is critical and important. And it should be the number one priority for you if you have fat loss goals for 2023. So maybe you've let your sleep slide, or maybe you didn't even take sleep into account when you were writing your New Year's resolutions or goals. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you have stopped, or you've taken a break, or you've fallen off the wagon from all of the things you said you were going to do in early January, now that you have time, I mean, you can reassess anytime you want. But say if you are going to do that, you are going to reassess, then reassess and put sleep as your number one priority. Nutrition should be number 2. To be honest, folks, exercise doesn't even need to be in your top 5 if the goal is fat loss. So for those of you that are thinking, oh, well, I'm just going to go to my local gym or Orange Theory or CrossFit, or I'm going to do spin bikes every day, I guarantee in 3 months you're going to look the same and you're probably going to feel the same. And that's the cold hard truth. I've been in the fitness industry 24 years. Now I'm a health coach, and I can tell you, I know what the research says, and I can tell you from being in a gym, working with thousands of athletes and adults over those years, that if you don't put sleep as your number one priority and focus on nutrition and stress management and lifestyle habits, you got to put those as your priority first. Then what you're doing in the gym will actually pay off. But if you're only working out and you might make a few minor tweaks here or there with your nutrition, but your sleep habits are poor, your lifestyle habits are poor, you don't know how to manage stress, you're going to look the exact same and feel the exact same in 3 months from now and probably 3 years from now. So hopefully that helps, folks. Give you some tips to get back on track. And if things aren't going as expected, please take my advice, make some changes, and figure out what you can do to turn things around for yourself. And before I let you go, I just want to remind you all that I'm here to help you. My number one goal is to help busy parents make better nutrition choices, to lose weight, create a better quality of life so they can meet their grandkids. So that is my commitment to you. And as you watch this, if you're thinking, well, I need to make some changes, I need a little bit of help, reach out. We'll see if it's a good fit. and I can help you reach your goals, your health goals this year. Have a great rest of your Friday, folks. We'll see you again next Friday, where I'm here talking about health-related topics to help you along your journey. Have a great rest of your week. Take care. We'll see you again next Friday at noon Mountain Standard Time. Take care.